Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. Counting on how Jim Bob Duggar crippled his sons. Counting on alum, Jim Bob Duggar has faced many controversies over the years. One of them is about how he raised his son through extreme conservative beliefs. However, some Redditors think it played a significant role in why some of his sons are crippled today. Keep reading to see the shocking discussion. Counting on, how's Jim Bob Duggar today? Jim Bob has remained out of sight since the CSA arrest of his oldest son, Josh Duggar. But there have been reports that the Counting on alum is taking steps to overturn his son's case. The Duggar family patriarch also appeared at the funeral of Jill Duggar's daughter, Isla Marie. But it's not clear if they talk to each other amid their years of strained relationships. Despite Jim Bob's absence, some fans still find ways to expose his dirty secrets. One of them is the possibility that he crippled his sons. How Jim Bob crippled his sons. Some Redditors recently discussed James Duggar's appearance at a Bates family event. Many were surprised by his sudden appearance amid his long online absence. But what caught the attention of many was one comment saying that Jim Bob crippled his sons. According to the Reddit user, the Counting on alum limited his sons' abilities to the point where they only worked for him, which is believed to be a common practice in such religious families. The commenter also said that Jim Bob Duggar basically turned them into children permanently, and they will never make the cross over to the adult world because Daddy-O will always be in control of every little thing even when they marry, the poster added. Others agreed and even felt bad about what happened to who they called the Lost Boys, which consisted of Jedediah, Jeremiah, Jason, James, Justin, and Jackson. All the Lost Boys are stumbling around adulthood with no real direction or life skills. Jason and James have it the worst, however. Jason lives in a child's playhouse/treehouse on the property. Totally normal adulthood. The fact that both his parents enjoyed a proper high school education like many of the parents of these fundy families, which gave them options of their own, makes it all the more evil. Carissa Collins is exactly the same way. Counting on. James Duggar stepping away from the family? Some Reddit users from the same thread also believe that James Duggar is stepping away from the family. It comes after one commenter mentioned that the Counting on alum was expected to court outside of the family circle by Jill. James himself has also done some questionable activities, far from the Duggar family's behavior. Some of them are doing dangerous activities like playing soccer using cars, as well as traveling so much across countries with friends. If you are looking for more Duggar family news, come back to TV Shows Ace for all your updates. Counting on. How Jim Bob Duggar crippled his sons. The Duggar family, well known for their appearances on the reality TV show 19 Kids and Counting On, has captured the public's attention for over a decade. With their ultra-conservative values, large family dynamics, and heavily religious lifestyle, the Duggars have raised questions and stirred controversy in equal measure. At the center of this family's narrative stands Jim Bob Duggar, the father and patriarch whose influence on his children, particularly his sons, has had lasting and often damaging consequences. Jim Bob's decisions, both on and off screen, have shaped not only the trajectory of the Duggar family's public life, but also the private lives of his sons, leaving many to question the extent to which his control and ideals have crippled their development. From the outset, Jim Bob Duggar constructed a carefully curated public persona, shaped by his fundamentalist Christian values. His primary goal seemed to be raising his children in a manner that aligned with these values, controlling their lives, beliefs, and personal choices. His vision for his sons was clear. They were to uphold the family name, maintain a devout Christian lifestyle, and follow in his footsteps. While his daughters were expected to embrace roles as submissive wives and mothers, his sons, too, were carefully groomed to carry the torch of Duggar values and legacy. However, this overbearing control, rooted in patriarchal ideals, placed limitations on their freedom, independence, and emotional ways Jim Bob Duggar has crippled his sons is through his manipulation of their careers and futures. As the father of a large family, Jim Bob placed his sons in positions where their futures were tightly bound to his own agenda. The Duggars' reality shows were not just family projects but vehicles for financial gain, and Jim Bob ensured that his sons were involved, often in ways that were limiting. While many of the older Duggar children, including his sons, were financially dependent on the show, they were also confined to the roles dictated by Jim Bob, roles that revolved around fulfilling the family's public image. For instance, Jim Bob expected his sons to maintain an air of perfection and respectability at all times, suppressing any signs of rebellion or independence. This stifling environment left many of the Duggar boys with little room to explore their personal identities, form their own beliefs, or express their individuality. They were not encouraged to pursue careers outside the family business, nor were they allowed to experience typical young adult freedoms, such as dating or traveling, without strict oversight. Their lives were systematically controlled by their father's beliefs about what was appropriate and righteous. The consequences of this were profound. Josh Duggar, the eldest son, became infamous for his actions, which were later revealed to have been kept hidden by Jim Bob. Jim Bob's attempts to cover up his son's transgressions, including allegations of molestation and other misconduct, only further showcased his distorted sense of parental responsibility. Instead of offering his sons an environment where they could confront their mistakes, learn, and grow, Jim Bob's approach was to shield them from the consequences of their actions, fostering a culture of denial and shame that ultimately damaged the family's reputation. Jim Bob's control over his sons was also manifest in his desire to dictate their personal relationships. For years, Jim Bob personally vetted potential wives for his sons, ensuring that the women they married adhered to the strict standards of the Duggar family. In this sense, the sons were not allowed to make decisions about their own romantic futures. Their choice of partner was seen as an extension of the family's legacy, not a reflection of their own desires. This manipulation of their personal lives created a deep sense of dependency and disempowerment among the Duggar boys. Additionally, Jim Bob's refusal to allow his sons to explore alternative viewpoints and lifestyles further contributed to their emotional and intellectual stagnation. With little exposure to differing opinions, his sons were sheltered in a bubble that limited their critical thinking. This lack of exposure to the broader world led many of the Duggar sons, particularly the older ones, to struggle when faced with challenges or opportunities outside of their immediate controlled environment. They were often unprepared to deal with the complexities of real-world issues, relationships, or personal growth because they had been shielded from them by their father's authoritarian approach. One of the most troubling aspects of Jim Bob Duggar's influence is the legacy of generational control. By instilling a deep fear of independence in his sons, Jim Bob has perpetuated a cycle where his children, especially his sons, feel compelled to repeat the same restrictive patterns with their own families. The limited opportunities for growth, self-exploration, and emotional maturity that Jim Bob instilled in his sons have led to struggles with self-worth, personal development, and independence, challenges that they will continue to face in their adult lives. While Jim Bob Duggar may have seen his approach as a form of guidance and protection, it has ultimately crippled his sons. His overbearing control, his obsession with appearances, and his refusal to allow his sons to navigate their own lives and mistakes have stunted their ability to thrive as independent individuals. Instead of nurturing them into capable, self-sufficient men, Jim Bob created an environment where his sons were forced to adhere to his vision of the world, one that was narrow, controlled, and limiting. In the end, the true cost of Jim Bob Duggar's actions is clear. A legacy of emotional and personal restraint, one that his sons will likely struggle to overcome for years to come. Thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe to our Reality TV 24 channel and stay with us.